welcome back to another episode of Still Talking. I'm your host, Kicker Shaver. We are here back in the classroom to do another expansion on these terms: temperament, character as the mantle, and our crust is going to be our personality. So, in this planet structure, if you will, each person being their own planet, in the universe that's constantly happening all the time, the root of who you are is going to be shown in your temperament. Now, I have in the house, I have Mark Clark, and he had some questions about these specifically that we're going to get into. And Mark, did you have anything specifically that you'd like to announce?
Yeah, so what I wanted to ask was what are the things that kind of go into what makes your personality yours? What are the influences that created you to be that kind of person, to have that kind of personality? You know, see what I'm saying? And
so, really, that's kind of really in the area of character, is the development of your temperament that makes your personality. This is the in-between. So character is like what your family, your influences.
Okay.
So let's say your character development is mom and dad, and that is plus or minus in each one as to whether they did influence, whether they didn't influence, whether it was positive influence, whether it was negative influence, and what the balance in between each of these relations character will have to do with your life. You know, perhaps something happened with mom or dad that created a deep wound in you. Now this is a trauma that's rooted in your character that you may show in your personality and not even know it, but other people can see it, you know, by how you behave.
Can you give me an example?
Let's say I'll use myself as an example. In the mom area, I got a pretty good mom. My mom loved me a lot. She showed me good things. In the dad area, I had a really tough environment because the dad that was in my life didn't really show me how to live as a man. Really kept me as a negative influenced child, without really knowing how to move forward or behave as a man. So that plus that I did have somebody in my life, it was a negative that not only did I not have my biological father in my life, the influence that I had with the male who was raising me as a dad really wasn't showing me something positive. So my influence here did a lot of my personality development when I showed the world who I was. What did I end up as? I was a country singer. What were my songs about? Broken heart, right? So my development by who my father was, when I started listening to country music, I heard who fathers were in country music, and I really appreciated and wanted that for my life. So my music and my lifestyle, I adopted 2 children. I married another, you know, I count that as a negative situation. So I had a lot of situations that developed my personality when it goes outward, when showing the world who I am. It was part of my personality because my character was influenced by mom, dad, spouse. And then of course the influence that happened coming off to my children that were either positive or negative, and the way that influenced my mind and changed my character again in the way that I think about people. And so all of these being a part of my character development, I had to decide with my intent to examine my mindset that was built on this character and decide for myself what was positive, what was negative and learn my lesson from the events. And that way it was no longer some traumatic event. It was no longer a negative situation. It was a lesson that I needed to learn so I could recalculate and really observe the things that I was doing to make who I am into who I choose to show the world, instead of how I was influenced to show the world,
Right.
based on, my instincts, which is your natural, swatting a fly, or whether it's a fly or a bee, decide whether or not you get some negative outcome. So does that answer your
Okay,
question
so
in that area?
basically, let me tell you what I took away from that. So, your character is who you are in your nature, right?
No, that's your temperament.
I know.
Your character is your environment. Let's go ahead and call it environmental influences.
Okay.
But your environmental influences your whole life.
This is true. And in the womb,
Right.
there's an environment.
Right.
So, if you're in a situation where you're experiencing something, it's going to develop your temperament, which is, again, let's remember those three circles.
Mm-hmm.
At the root of this one word, we've got those three other layers. So we're really on the outer layers of temperament. If we're focused on just this, it's going to talk about just the influences that go inward towards developing your temperament.
And so your character develops your temperament?
Well, your influences develop your temperament, and then your temperament is your temperament showing what you show is
your
personality.
Got it.
So at the root of who you are is your temperament. That's your affectionate relationships, your close personal, and your control levels, your willpower. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, rooting in understanding what you understand of the world and what you portray to it. So in your root core, there's your temperament. Now, this is the development of your character. Is let's say in your family, you guys, every time before you sit down, you say a prayer before you eat, and it's like, you know what, you don't touch the food until
That's how you develop your
a prayer
character?
is said. Well, that's one of a character development that just traits forward, right?
Okay.
And it's normally family related, mom or dad's tradition carried on,
and that's character.
and it's part of the character of your family.
Okay.
So your personality is, you might be the kid who just sits there and quietly hates on whoever God is and doesn't want to have any part of it, but you just sit there and play along.
That's your personality.
That's your personality. It's the way that you're influencing the world. Yes.
B.
Is B in here?
Yes, there is.
Where are you at?
And just for starch purposes, I don't want it here. I don't mind getting stung. I don't know.
You touched me.
Huh? It touched you?
He grazed me.
He did. Yeah, well, I got.
Thick arm here. Thank goodness. Oh, he's still trying.
You're still trying, huh?
That was suction that took him out.
No.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
A little vacuum action.
Okay. That's how you kill. You get rid
That's
of
how
a
you
bee.
get rid of a bee.
Okay.
Don't smash your thumb when you do it. In case
All
you're
right,
going to
so-
hitchhike later.
We were talking. So what's the difference between your personality and your character?
Let's say your character in any given environment is to say that prayer and before a meal, but you go out on your own and you're sitting at a table with somebody else, and you decide not necessarily important to say that prayer over it.
That's your personality?
That's your personality.
Okay.
So your personality shows any given circumstance of what your character is. In your character, can you handle any given circumstance? When stuff comes and panic happens, are you the person in the panic, or are you the person with the solution?
And that's rooted in your character?
Darth, come here, buddy.
Is that rooted in your character?
That is rooted in your character. That is rooted in your character.
Hold on.
Yes, Darth.
In the moment of chaos, whether you're calm or in panic, that is rooted. Huh? Is that's rooted in your character?
Happy. Frustrated. Now these are showing different personalities.
Right.
And your character is what situation causes you to be any of these.
Okay.
What situation causes you to be any of those?
What developed in your character that caused you to behave in any given way at any given time based on whatever circumstances or influences are coming inward. Your character is shown by your personality. It's like this. Do you wear the same face in the supermarket as you do in the church?
Nope.
Different personalities.
Right.
Nothing wrong with it.
No.
Everybody's got multiple personalities that you show, but what you display in any given circumstances is shown by, let's go ahead and say that the root of all these, right, is your character is like you were shown a certain behavior as a child, and you decided whether it was good or bad.
Right. That's the truth.
That developed your character. Now, what you do with your life, based on that influence, shows your personality.
Talk that shit, bro.
Make it easier?
That's how you got to do it. That's how you talk to me. That's how you talk to me right there.
I knew there was an answer, and I wanted to speak your language.
That's speaking my language right there.
You've been on that a bunch, by the way.
Yeah, speaking my language.
Speaking the right language.
Right.
So,
see, somebody else probably wouldn't have understood that, but I know exactly what you meant.
That was actually perfect.
Right.
But I do have a question.
Yes.
When you're modifying and changing your behavior, what are you actually modifying? Are you modifying your character, or are you modifying the personality that you're portraying when you're showing?
When
Good
you
question.
learn
Thank you, Mark.
Good question.
your temperament,
Okay.
you grab the steering wheel.
Okay.
By gaining more understanding of why you have certain strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
When you learn other people's strengths and weaknesses, then you can begin to plant seeds in your life of characteristics that other strengths use to borrow them for your own. And now you've got a full, complete garden of different of different temperaments that you can dig from. And like me, people tell me I'm a natural leader or this and that. I really don't have any interest in leading. I just listen, if you want to follow my advice, I've got it to give.
Right.
If you don't want to do for it, go somewhere else. That's how I think. It's very simple, very, very, very. And I adopted that from two different temperaments. I adopted from choleric and phlegmatic. I adopted the mentality that if you don't want to learn from me, then you probably don't want to know me because I've always got something to teach.
Right.
And then I'm able to, if somebody, curses my name and walks away from me, I'm able to separate that part of my heart that breaks and love them anyway. Because listen, if you want to know something, I have something I want to teach. If you know something I don't, I assure you, we're going to learn it.
Right.
Because I love to learn, and that's how you grow.
Okay.
King Solomon says, as iron sharpens iron, one man so sharpens another. And that's how I really learn a lot from King Solomon too, if you guys dig into anything he wrote. So he was a poet and a mind scientist. He knew pretty much everything that you could know. So did that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Okay. So,
yes, it did. So basically the temperament, knowing your full temperament and learning your strengths and your weaknesses, and actually improving your strengths will actually assist you in modifying your behavior for the outside world, because then you'd be able to figure out the person you're speaking to and what their temperament is.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then
borrow
again,
their fruit.
Right. And be able to
language again. speak their language.
Speak their language.
Because
Okay.
when you speak someone else's language and they feel understood by you,
You get
it's such a rewarding
absolutely.
feeling to know.
They'll
Like
give
the
you more
reward
information.
I just got when you're like, preach it, brother, and
Right,
you slapped
right,
my
right,
hand, I was
right.
like, money.
Right.
I
Because
got
that
it
was
through
cash.
a language
That was
spoke.
cash.
It was a transaction that
Right.
happened between me and my brother. We gained understanding from each other.
Right.
Mhm.
And that beautiful moment is only duplicated by
Speaking their language.
Speaking their language.
Right.
So
Right.
so by learning all the languages in both strengths and weaknesses, you
Gotcha.
can speak somebody's language who's living in a weakness and bring them
Out
into
of
their
it.
own
Into their own
strength
strength.
by helping them tend their garden.
Right. Okay.
Right? Especially if it's someone who trusts you to go into their garden and
Right.
pluck weeds.
Right. And I trust you.
I
I trust
you
you.
too, bro. I appreciate that.
You
Thank
know that I love you, bro.
I love you too. Any other questions? Where are we going? Where are we going with this?
I know you kind of just nipped that on the butt. I think you should dub that and we go on another topic.
So we're gonna go another topic.
Yeah.
Did you find another page you want to play with? That was a fun one.
Right here, this light one.
Ooh, that was fun. That one was a mind explosion for me.
Yeah. Let's go here. Let's
All
go
right.
here.
Is
Which
that
one
the
was
that
this?
has the word aura
light.
on it?
Yep.
Say seeming.
Yep.
Okay,
Paradigm,
what did I do?
perception,
Ooh,
emotion,
man,
and
that
aura.
one's fun.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So this is an old page now. We're going to keep on going here.
Yeah.
Class. And of course, as we go through my courses, you guys are going to learn because it's the history that I know. I know I'm telling with 100% truth. If I tell you somebody else's history, I got to rely on what somebody else said.
Mhm.
So if I use my own self, then you guys will know even better what I'm talking about. So we're on this page where I've got a person drawn up here.
Do you want me to?
I'm a sucker for the stick figure.
Do you want me to grab the page? Or no?
No, I'll
All
go
right.
from what I know.
Okay.
And Mark can ask questions.
All right.
So there's this thing in the universe called the aura. Now, I really like the word seeming because I looked it up, and what seeming means is pretty important. If we break seeming into pieces, your seeming is your influences and your sensation. So if you seem to be something, what does Kicker seem like? What does Mark seem like? What do you seem like? That's this.
Okay.
It's what you present in your entire sphere. Let's imagine this like a bubble, right? Of your sphere of influence. This is what people see you to be and what you think yourself to be.
Okay.
And what they think you know.
Right? So yeah,
you know.
you're understanding with your heart and your brain.
Now,
Well,
is this
by the
just the initial perception of what they?
This is everything that you seem from whether they've only caught wind of hearing about your name and
Okay.
developed an opinion from there, or whether they've met you to develop their own opinion. It's what anybody thinks that you seem. You don't have to do anything or be anything for anybody to think anything about you. I know people who don't know a lot of people, but they hate them just because they exist. I got a hand up in the class right here in the back. Here he is, Darth Steven. And you know, we can go Bill Burr too, man. That man, do not put him in charge of the button, please.
He'll put you through the fucking wall.
He will put you through the wall. So we're gonna tone down the leg. We're gonna tone language in this particular set.
wall.
Yeah. So all right. So your influence is everything that both gets in and gets out. Your influence
Okay.
over the world and what influences you is the things that you ponder about that happen in the events of a day, or the things that you remember that happened in the past, the things that you think about for the future. All of these are influences for your thought process and a part of the molecular portrayal that goes off of your body that a dog smells to follow you. So your seeming in even your emotional output lets out different types of emotions.
Right.
That's why dogs can smell things like fear.
Right.
So the endorphins that your body releases ejects through your pores, and all of this comes out in this aura. And this influence is just one half of your seeming or your aura when it comes down to your sensations, because this is what you feel as a result of what's influenced. So the feeling part of your body, so let's call this the brain, and this the body. This is what your adrenaline glands leak out into your kidneys, and your body feels the adrenaline as a result. Like when somebody spooks you, and sometimes even your armpits hurt, you're like, oh, I got scared. Good, right? So that sensation that your body feels as the influence comes into the mind, and it accepts what's happening, whether through the eyes, through the skin, and all of those senses that we feel, even those sixth senses where we can feel that cool breeze of spooky or whatever. So and even feeling things that the body and that the mind creates, like today in the car. If you've been in this situation where you're sitting perfectly still and the car next to you starts to move, and you grab something, feel like the whole place is moving, your brain will play some amazing tricks on your body and create amazing sensations that it has no sense in feeling if the brain evaluates the real situation. No harm, nothing's really moving. But today Mark Clark had got himself a good jolt in the heart, and he grabbed a hold of everything in the car.
And I definitely did.
And the look of fear.
So I know we've all felt situations.
Yeah, it was funny.
And I mean it this time. So the sensation being what your sensory body. Now, mind you, that's just one part of those adrenal glands. We've also got the pituitary gland, the pineal gland. Pituitary is going to give us our dopamine, our serotonin, and pineal is going to give us our dimethyltryptamine. Woohoo! So DMT, if you know what that is. So all of these glandular seepages happening, creating your body's sensations. Also, not just what you feel, but what you project for other people to feel in their influences and sensations of you. So everything working, again, in positive and negative in its infinite plus, minus, and zero world where everything is happening in its own layers. Because mind you, you can walk through a park and feel negative and put on a negative face. Because again, let's say this is another thing from that book. It's in there. Your face is your influence on the world. What you wear on your face is how you feel. If you feel happy, there's a face for that.
Right.
If you feel sad. So all of your emotional output also goes into the molecular structure of the trail that you're leaving behind, that animal can follow to see who you are. Am I missing anything on that page, Mark?
Paradigm.
Paradigm. I really like paradigm and mindset. Paradigm. Paradigm, and it really paradigm means a little bit different if you look up at the dictionary, but I really like the idea that your paradigm is the way that you think in general. This is your really, I like the word mindset.
Okay.
So we can use paradigm and mindset as synonyms in this particular scenario. I like the word paradigm. You can challenge me on that if you want to, and by all means, I'll know what you mean when you're talking about it. So there's paradigm, perception, and emotion.
Okay.
Now these three, actually, you know what? I'm going to give us the page for this because this is important. I'm gonna erase this, and we're going to go back to the beginning.
I should have told you paradigm in the beginning.
No, I'm glad this is good. I'm glad we went through this because that page is fun. I haven't really spent any time on it.
These are my fault, bro. You should have caught that.
You should have caught that, Mark. I don't care.
All right, so we are
You
back.
can give me one of these green ones, though.
Oh, man. It's so far down to the ground.
Here. Want to kick it over to
I'm
me?
going to kick it over.
Okay. Mark will grab it.
Thank you, bro. You saved my life. All right, so Rips. That's gonna be my new thing. I saw the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And Johnny Depp's role when he's on all those drugs, swatting at bats with a flash water. I love it. So, watch me if you see me. I'll probably do it.
You have.
I love it that he does it behind people's back though. It straightens right up if you look at him. Thank you, bro. Mark, sharing the Rips. This episode sponsored by Rips. No, we don't mean that kind of rip. Rip it with your friends, but not like that. No, you know what? That has multi-entendres.
It does.
That is a word I made up.
Entendre?
Multi-entendre.
Multi-entendre.
There's double entendre.
Yes, there is.
I don't think there's just an entendre, though. I don't think so.
Let's find out.
All right, so paradigm. You know I like my my circles. Paradigm. Perception.
You said something before about Pavlov.
Entendre.
Pavlov?
Yeah, you
Pavlov?
said you referred to him, and I wanted to ask something about him.
We want to know about Pavlov. You just want to know everything that he
Yeah,
knows?
like
Okay.
tell me what you
We'll do a study on Pavlov, and we'll come back. Remind me to loop back to paradigm, perception, emotion.
There is a single entendre.
Cool. What is it?
It means it's a phrase that has a single, often body meaning and is lacking in subtlety or cleverness.
So if you speak in entendre, it just means one thing, and it's pretty doggone bland. Ben Stein, very entendre.
just come thinking about who he is.
Ben
Yeah,
Stein
I know
is
who
the
it
guy
is.
that talks like this.
He's a Clear Eyes guy.
Oh,
If you
See?
realize,
How did Darth know who that
clear
was?
Because
eyes,
he is.
if you
The clear eye
if
guy.
you rub in the
What does the meaning of
affected
entendre,
area, it gives veins. You cannot walk into class this way because they will throw you out.
What's his name?
Ben Stein.
How did you know his name?
There is also a triple
He's
entendre
famous,
as
bro,
well.
For what?
for being bland.
He is famous. for
Bueller.
I'm like, all he
He's
does
most
is
famous for being.
all he does is does the clear eyes commercial.
No,
Did he
bro.
drop?
He was Ferris Bueller's teacher, bro.
He was who?
Ferris Bueller.
Who was that?
You don't know who Ferris Bueller is?
Hey,
Oh, wow.
we got bees going crazy around here. I'm about to start killing.
Okay.
He said-
Where's bees?
Or I'm going to find the queen and throw her in a box and start collecting honey. You know, honey is more marketable and expensive than gold.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Where are there more
No.
bees?
There are bees in
It's
here?
Yeah,
more
bro.
marketable and expensive.
I got stung already
than
this
gold.
morning.
Yeah, bro. Look it up, bro.
Where's there a bee?
If you run a bee
Oh, you know why? Bees are about to go extinct.
plus
okay.
honey is the most marketable thing in the world.
You know why?
It's medicine.
You know
it
why?
doesn't spoil.
Right. Otherwise, because you can have honey for hundreds of years.
And still lick that sucker up off you, dig it up where you got it.
Right. That's crazy. You can have something. You
You
can
know,
have,
Samson ate some honey out of the belly of a lion.
Hmm.
He ripped a lion in half and opened his belly and found honey and ate it. That was the riddle that he gave. All right, so we're still live here. Let's go on. What was your question?
Pavlov.
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 P-A-V.
Are we going back to this page to talk about paradigm?
Yeah, we'll
After
come back
this.
to
Okay.
that. We'll come back to paradigm, perception, emotion. So stay tuned. But right now, we're going to do a little lesson on what Pavlov knew. Now, Pavlov's studies were pretty straightforward, but they weren't necessarily nice. And his main experiment that got the most light is what we'll focus on, and it became the concept of the bell. So
Much
with
better.
this bell, what they did is here we'll make it the Liberty Bell. With this bell, he would ring this bell at a certain time of day with a bowl of food.
Oh.
Right?
Mhm.
And in this bowl of food, the dog would come and eat the food. Yes.
I'm sorry, but I know this one.
It's all right. We're going to go ahead and finish up.
Gotcha.
Right? So as the dogs would come to eat, he would notice that they would salivate. So they would leak their salivation, little drops, right? And then through that, over time, he would reduce the amount of food he would put out and still ring the bell. And the point behind the whole thing was, could you cause the dog to salivate at the ring of a bell? Because what that's doing is causing an instinctual behavior to happen on request.
Right, on command.
So the concept behind that and what you can do to translate it when it comes to psychology is that you can perform something over and over and over again and create a new instinct.
So speaking on that, I think like digging deeper into it, it's I don't really think it's the bell, but they heard the bell and then it was time to eat. So then they got food. So the next time they hear the bell and then there's food again, you know, it kind of puts like I said, that book, The Power of Habits.
Yeah.
That habit.
Basically
So they got
the
a
same
habit.
concept.
Right.
Is creating a new instinct.
Right.
The
So,
dog would salivate because the bell would ring.
Right. So now at that point, you don't,
The bell
it don't
is
have
a
to
signal
be,
for food.
It don't have to be the same kind of food anymore. It can be anything there. And now he's going to eat it
Because they associate
his
The bell.
food
With the
to
bell.
the
with the
sound.
bed. Right. Exactly. It takes.
So,
you took out one of the
so
cues.
basically, that's saying that if you want to get to the root of your instincts,
Fine.
you go to your associations.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What do you associate?
Hmm.
I lost myself on that when I did.
All right. You said, if you want to get to the root of your instincts,
you go to
you
your
go to your
associations.
associations.
You heard that from?
All right.
What was that from?
You want to get the root of your instincts, you go to your associations. Oh, and then your association was gonna tell you something about goddamn.
All right. You know what? We're gonna go right back.
But then I was tight. That was a
And,
good.
I really want to. I really want to
was,
focus
right?
on. I really want to focus on that paradigm
Okay.
motion thing. Did you see what time it is?
5:30.
It's great. All right. So, paradigm. Excuse me. Is associated to your brain, thoughts,
Mindset. Thoughts and mindset.
mindset. That is all in positive and negative. Your perception
Oh, okay.
is related to your eyes and the way that you see the world.
Okay.
Your vision
Mm-hmm.
for your life, family, your sight, and the way that you see the world. Think of the word seeing back over when we studied just that word seeming, to see something
Right.
as opposed to just having it in front of you, knowing it's there, to actually look and pay attention. So seeing being in that vernacular. So really, this is going to be the plus when it comes to your paradigm. The way that you think in your mindset is going to cause you to see the world a certain way. So this is your outward perception of the way that you see the world and the way that it influences you by what you can see. And of course, with your eyes, that's going to relate to all of the senses. That's touch,
Smell.
Here, smell.
Smell. That says shell, smell, hear, taste.
Yep.
So all of those in your seeming, which is her influence and your sensation. So if you see how the layers are going to compound in what we're doing here, this links to that whole page we just did with your seeming.
Right.
So being your influence. So if you could remember that and go back to that, backdate that here, link all these together, it's just going to go and connect here back up to paradigm. Right. Paradigm being the way that you think. So perception being the way that you see and your senses, and then there's your emotions. And this is the way that you feel. Now, again, that is going to be a result of, let's do a couple of little kidneys, right? And then, of course, you've got your adrenal glands. That is linked to your central nervous system. That's going to be fed from part of your spine.
I need you to talk about.
What you got? You just throw them over there, brother. I'll get it. Yeah. So when your brain thinks a certain way about any certain event, some people, they feel that adrenaline, let's call it epinephrine, which is what it really is. Epinephrine, or, we'll go ahead and put adrenaline, because they're really the same thing. So when that seeps into your kidneys and, of course, your body, it goes straight into your bloodstream. Your blood distributes it to your muscles, and your muscles feel the result of the shock that the mindset started with. Some people, when they get into a car accident, they get out and they're all amped up and they're super hyped. Some people enjoy that feeling, so they'll jump themselves off of a building and throw out a parachute just to feel that feeling release. Where somebody else, if they feel the same feeling, they're going to throw up.
Right.
Yeah.
So that release that you're feeling in your emotions is always going to be the result of the way that you think. Now, mind you, in my studies, this is what I've learned. But in my experience, I have learned that unnatural causes can lead your mindset to wander differently because you can feel a certain way chemically. So the chemicals in your body. We've got adrenaline. We've got dopamine, serotonin.
So, am I to believe if, regardless of what my paradigm is like, if my chemical imbalance is thrown off?
You ever wake up one morning and just feel like garbage for no good reason?
Sure.
Yeah.
Those days?
Those days.
Right.
Those days are the ones where you just have a chemical release in your body that's causing your body to react regardless of your thoughts. You can think, why do I feel this way?
Right.
And wonder why your body is creating the feelings. And the danger there in psychology is the association that you can do. When you associate some negative event that you felt before with the same negative feeling, and now you're dwelling and perpetuating it, making it last.
I do that
longer and longer and longer, because now all of those emotional situations are now in the same boat with you. And you're drowning yourself, just sinking your boat with stuff that's already happened. It should be a lesson you learn, where when you think about it, you learn something from it. And that's what I challenge people to do with your emotions when you're in any given situation where you're in the negative side of this stuff. When you're feeling this negative side, there's something powerful that you can do by evaluating what you're feeling. Is it a chemical? Is it one of these? You know, going back on those last couple of chemicals, I want to finish up. Melatonin and cortisol. Now, mind you, you blend melatonin and cortisol in the wrong combinations. That's where you get stuff like nightmares. You know, and then that seeps into your adrenaline. And then I forgot which one it is that drugs your body. We've got dimethyltryptamine in here too, but there's one that paralyzes your body when you're asleep, so you don't react to the dreams. Your muscles aren't moving.
Right.
You know, if you're a scientist, you're welcome to put it on there. You know what I'm talking about. So the combinations of all of these things that your body naturally makes, some of them are made down here in the cerebrum, gland, and in that pituitary, or, you know, then again, of course, here in the frontal cortex, we've got the pineal. And it is pineal because it is shaped like the pine cone. That's why they call it the pineal. Some people will say pineal. It's pineal. So, simplifying that argument, go to the root of what it means, you'll find out the truth. So, all of these different endorphins releasing in the body, creating feelings through what you can sense with your sensations, the things that influences you in your seeming and your influence and your sensations. You got to tell me what you're talking about.
This is the chemical that paralyzes you during
What's
sleep.
it called?
Now,
Give me.
you can read this. Here, take it off the charger, please. Thank you. There you go.
So, glycine causes sleep paralysis, along with gamma aminobutyric.
Acid.
Nope.
No.
Aminobutyric acid. So GABA, G-A-B-A is its gamma aminobutyric acid, and glycine causes REM and sleep paralysis. Not sure that's one I'm going to commit to memory. Why the heck not aminobutyric? So all of those being released into the body in their different elements. You know, of course, you know, if you get that aminobutyric acid seeps into your body at the wrong time, that's going to cause something like narcolepsy.
Right.
You can fall asleep. I do it. I fall asleep. There's places like, you know what, you be talking to me. You can be like, I was still talking to you when you were asleep. Like, yeah, you know what? It was interesting. So any questions on paradigm, perception, emotion? Mark Clark?
Any questions on paradigm? No, I had a question on that. Oh, that was pretty clear.
Clear?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have any questions. No, I don't.
All right. Then you know what? Let me finish up this way. The way, if you want to change something in your life in this area, this is the most powerful thing in your whole life. These two here really are going to be the most important. The way that you think is going to be the most important, cherishable thing that you can have in your life, because the way that you think is yours and yours alone. People can borrow from you and you can borrow from them, but the way that you think should be your own as a priceless possession in your freedom. And you know, I'm the guy that says freedom hurts, because they say the truth sets you free, but they also say the truth hurts. So freedom can't be painless.
Communist?
You.
No, I'm just kidding.
His first name is Darth. What do you want? I'm gonna get you the robe, bro. I've got one.
He said,
I will play the Imperial March, bro.
Oh, shit.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'll bang my head.
Darth Steven.
So basically, you can go. This goes back to the whole temperament thing as well, because you're changing your mind by
tending your garden,
and also by not letting your emotions create a false sense of identity.
by living in a land called What
If? Right.
And the what if reality is either the most rewarding thing in the world
Or, it's a
or the
nightmare.
most devastating.
Right.
Because there are people who create their what if reality
And try to live in
and
it.
it's like lucid dreaming for them.
Yeah.
And, I like to say this. I've talked to a lot of crazy people that most people would call crazy by their own right. And crazy people really don't care about anybody else's opinion, not a little bit.
No,
They don't care, none. And if you can adopt a little bit of that for your life, it becomes a little bit more of something holding on to the steering wheel. Now, you could be the person who grabs the steering wheel and jerks it one way or the other and goes either in the oncoming traffic or the ditch.
Right.
Or you could be a person who takes the wheel and goes and does something powerful to influence a world.
Right.
And anything in between.
Okay.
This is where your entrepreneurs are born.
Right.
This is where you decide whether you're the employee or whether you're the boss. Whether you're the guy who builds the stuff or whether you're the guy that creates the stuff. Or whether you're both. Whether you're everything. Me, I decided to be in everything. I get bored very, very quickly. And once I'm not entertained, I create. So, I was just now going to focus on something. The garden. Garden. I gotta close this thing up more often. So in the concept of the garden, what we're gonna find is strengths and weaknesses. And let's go ahead and call this our plus and our minus.
Okay.
Now this is where you live. Is this line
Life
in
balance.
between?
Right.
You find your balance, and of course, let's say this is your heartbeat. You probably want to have, more pointing in your column this way
Right.
as you look back in your past and you see what your garden is going to have your positive fruits versus your weeds. So what kind of fruits can we have in our life? We've got our love power. The power that we can have over influencing somebody else with the amount of love that we can pour out in who we are as a person by influencing their life as opposed to allowing influence on our own.
Okay.
Allowing necessary influence to people you can trust and sharing information only with the people who are responsible with it. The peacefulness that you can provide in an environment, whether it's chaotic or whether it's already peaceful, and how much more comfortable you can make the other people in the room. Your patience. When somebody else sits frustrated and you can be the voice of reason, bring their patience back and feed them their own patience, not knowing they have the strength to relax and calm and cool. Your kindness. Your kindness is anything that you can do to provide for somebody else that's really on the more selfless side, but the rewarding side of it is, like that altruism.
Right.
The fact that you're getting something out of it.
Mm.
But it feeds a circle that keeps it perpetuating for yourself. Gentleness is something that can be provided in a war situation to change an entire circumstance.
Because it turns away wrath, right?
Gentleness, a soft answer turns away wrath, is what you're talking about. That's King Solomon again. Right? That's King Solomon, that's right. So as a soft answer turns away wrath, gentleness against roughness, well, roughness doesn't stand a chance.
Right.
If you have a continuous gentle answer, eventually roughness will give and become smooth. So faithfulness. And I really want to go into detail on this word specifically because it's a word, because it's got that word faith in it. And man, oh man, are people confused what that word means. Faith means loyal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm faithful. I'm loyal. I'm devoted. when you somebody, your devotion, it means that while they can do wrong and they can do harm, you're devoted to them to show them that you're there. There's nothing they can do. You're loyal. And of course, you hope that the people that you're loyal to are loyal back, but you can still give it faithfully, consistently, loyal. Goodness. This is a place that comes from your morality, to do something good because it's good to do. I do all kinds of crazy stuff I'm never going to tell people about. And it's because it's my reward in my heaven that I get, that nobody's business but me and him. So goodness is the good part of what you can be in this world and project through that seeming we talked about earlier. And then, of course, the thing that contains all of these in one place is self-control. And when you have self-control and you combine both self-control and love, Darth, you covered all the light, buddy. You covered all the light, buddy. You got to back up a little bit. Okay. When you contain your love through your self-control, you can see that all of these other things here, they just fall naturally into place, and you become them considerably easier when you control the love power that you have in your life. And of course, when we do this already perfect book, there's a chapter on the word love specifically, because we don't just talk about what love is, we talk about what love is not, which is just as important, because it's such a confusing term, especially if you try to look it up in the dictionary. It's very limited in what it does. Try to stay away from the front of the camera, please. So that would be in our strengths. And then on the side of weaknesses, what we've got is, let's say, selfishness, hatred, war, frustration.
Can you get your headphones too, bro? Right down.
New term we came up with today says that you can dictate your maturity. You can decide how mature you are by what frustrates you. And the less things that frustrate you, the more mature you become. So frustrations, if you're rough and angry or mad, I like to say, which is me acting destructive, another chapter in the book. Bad. You know what being bad is when I refer to this, and if you don't, by all means ask, and we'll go further into what bad means, because there's some confusion in the difference between bad and good, right and wrong. So we'll go ahead and say bad/wrong. Chaos / disorganization. So if you look at all of these as strengths and weaknesses in your own life, in what is possible to be a fruit that shows that people can come to you and come to your seeming and come to your heartbeat and see what you project out into the world, are you operating in the strengths of your temperament, which we'll go into another time, and maybe we'll probably do one session each per broadcast, and spend some real time on the choleric, sanguine, melancholic, the 5 temperaments.
That's a great idea.
So for now, we're going to go ahead, take a break. Anybody asking any questions we need to answer? And if you have any questions, of course, pop them up while we're doing the show, because we'll cover them.
No, not yet.
Okay, so sign off on this one is, if you pay attention to your garden, you can tend it well with using your intentions. By paying attention to what all these others are. And look up these words I'm giving you guys. This is gold here. And if you use this for your life, it's going to make you that more powerful for the people who know you, so you can go positive in the world too. And when you get people starting to tell you that changing their life, man, it's a beautiful reward. There's a beautiful flowers to reap when it comes to me reaping the fruits of the seeds that I've been planting, by learning my strengths and learning my weaknesses, and really trying to focus more on growing good fruit. So today's message is taste the fruit of the people around you and begin to tend your garden to cater to make sure that they can taste and see how good your fruit is. We'll see if this thing stops or whether it persists on. But we're going to sign off. Blessings on everything you do. You know I love you. You can't make me stop. I've been doing it for a long time. Are we still here?
We are. You want me to
Yeah, you can hit the button.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Oh,
No,
It's ended. Do you want to end?
I don't know.
No, I got it.
Is it over?